Quick warning here, this is not a self-improvement video. It's not a motivational video that gets you pumped up for 5 minutes before you jack off and watch another hustle porn video. I'm not going to teach you how to make $1 million before you turn 30 or how to be the guy that everyone looks at when you enter a room, because that's just so important. This video is a personal reflection on my 20s. It is a largely personal memoir. So if that doesn't interest you, leave now and go click on some guy that promises to vastly improve your life over the course of a 5 minute video. Okay, so the first lesson that I want to discuss is take action instead of relying on motivation. The video I'm showing here is myself in 2017, and I'm playing a song that I wrote in a studio I used to go to. I went to that studio every day for months and months and months. And I wrote songs and practiced music and practiced and practiced and practiced. And I wrote many, many, many songs in that studio. And I ended up using those songs in my first two albums, the second of which I believe, in all honesty, is the best album of 2020, period. So, why am I bringing this up? Well, it's because for years I didn't write any music at all, and I didn't engage in music. I became very demotivated after my band broke up when I was 22, and we didn't go anywhere, and I just moved on with my life, and I started doing other things like learning languages. I learned French. I lived in a couple of different countries, and I just didn't go back to music at all. I became completely and utterly disconnected from it. But when I took it up again and just started writing songs, it wasn't that I suddenly had this big burst of motivation. I just did it, and then I kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. And it's true that action creates motivation, and the action of writing did make me more motivated because I was making good progress. And a lot of people have that backwards. They think that they need the motivation first and then they can take action. It's absolutely not the case. In everything you do in life, you have to take action if you want to get results. Waiting for motivation, you'll be waiting till the rapture. It's not going to happen. It's a rare and capricious emotion. You have to take action if you want to attain any goals of any significance in your life. The second lesson is that people are unreliable. This is something I really began to realize in my first full-time job in and around that time. Now, what I'm showing here is an area of Seoul. It's a very popular nightlife district, an area that I went out many, many times, almost always by myself, sometimes with a friend, sometimes with a girl. And the reason I'm showing this video is I started going out by myself a lot when I realized how unreliable people are. The story is briefly that I was out with a group of people who I thought were kind of my friends. I'd known them for a couple of months. And I was talking to some people that I'd met that day. We'd all gone to this big event. I was talking to these people I'd met at the event. And, after about 15 minutes of talking to these people, I thought, right, I'll go off and find my friends. And I was very young at the time. I was only 22. And wouldn't you know it, my friends had disappeared completely without telling me or contacting me or texting me in any way. And, I'd naively thought that we were all going to go out drinking or clubbing that night or something. I'd been drinking and clubbing with these people before. And I honestly don't know why I persisted with it, because they were so fucking boring. They were boring people, and you would end up just hanging around the same bar or club for 3 fucking hours because I would want to leave, but it would be like, oh, well, Jessie doesn't want to leave, so we're just going to wait and we'll see what she says, and maybe we'll go to this place, we'll go to this place, we'll go to this place. It ended up you would go to the same club, followed by the same bar, followed by the same club every fucking weekend. Jesus, it was so boring and so ritual. And I just kept doing it out of habit and out of the false belief that you needed to be around other people when you went out. Otherwise, it was sad. You looked lonely. And that day, when these fuckers took off on me, they did me a big favor, because I just thought to myself, do you know what? I want to go out tonight and I don't need these dickheads around me to do it. So I just went out by myself and I had a great time. I just did what I want. If I went into a club and it was shit, I was out of there in 5, 10 minutes. If I went into a bar, it was shit, same story. I was able to get around, meet a lot of people. I had a far better time than I ever had hanging around with some group of random assholes. And that's just one example of people being unreliable. There's many examples I could give, like in my professional life, in my personal life. When I tried to get back into music, I tried to get a couple of other people involved, and it was futile. Like I would think of what I tried to do in getting them involved as ridiculous now, because I was very motivated for music at the time, and they weren't at all. And it ended up I did it all solo, completely by myself. I had to. But that's one thing I would say. People are unreliable. Don't rely on people to get things done. Don't make people a necessary part of your own success or your own goals. You really have to get things done by yourself. If you rely on others, at best, things are going to slow down a lot. They're going to slow way, way down. Like with that first example I gave, going out in clubs and things like that, you'd be in the same club or the same bar for 3 hours, really wanting to leave. And whatever it is you're trying to do, whatever goals you're trying to attain, relying on other people is going to slow you down considerably. Now, you can accept other people's help, you can pay them, which is great. They'll give you help if you pay them. But if you're asking a friend or a family member for a lot of help with something, they'll forget about it. It's not happening. You have to learn to be independent and not to rely on people because people are unreliable and they're lazy, and that's just the reality. Okay, the third lesson I want to talk about is that balls wins. Simply put, if you put yourself out into the world, you're courageous, you go after what you want, you're much more likely to have success, whether that's at a modest level or a more advanced level. Doesn't really matter. But if you really throw yourself into something, you'll do better. A common example is success with women. I would just when I went out, I would go up to women who I liked the look of, and I would walk over to them and start talking to them. And I did that with thousands of women throughout my 20s, and I I had some success. I didn't have, amazing, miraculous success or anything, but certainly a hell of a lot more than I ever had in university, because in university I didn't have the balls. I just didn't have the balls to go up and talk and get the number and follow through and get a date going and lead the interaction and have the balls to do all that, and to have the balls to flirt and to make jokes and to make clear, without being sleazy about it, to make clear my sexual intentions. The fact that was sexually interested in this girl. In university, I would have thought that that was rude or ungentlemanly or sleazy. But if you have balls, you can do that without appearing any of those things. And yeah, balls wins. It's very simple. The guys who have balls, they're going to be going out with the best looking girls, and that's it. It's that simple. If you're a weak man, you don't get any respect, and you sure as fuck don't get any attention from women. All right, the next lesson is a very important one. Learn to fight. This obviously only applies to men. No, it doesn't apply to women. If that makes me sexist, fine, I'm sexist. This applies to men. Learn to fight. Now, there's a few reasons for this. Before I get into them, I want to tell a little story. When I was about 25, I was living in France, and I took a girl and her friend to a Halloween party. We were walking along the street, and some guys popped their head out the window and said, "Hey, what are you doing? You want to come up here and drink? Come up and enjoy our Halloween party." So we went into the party. We didn't know these people, but it looked like a good time. We weren't in there very long. It was kind of boring, but it was all right. We hung out there for about 15 minutes, and then the girl I was with, she went to use the toilet. And while I was waiting on her, getting out of the toilet so we could go, this big drunken jockey guy came up to me and he said to me, what are you doing here? I don't know you. And I said, I'm just waiting on my girl here. We're about to leave. And then I looked back, I looked back toward where the toilet was, and the guy, without being provoked, without me doing anything, he just grabbed me by the back of the neck, this big guy, and he dragged me out of the apartment. And he dragged me into the corridor and was going to throw me down a flight of stone stairs until his friends pulled him off me. And the whole time I was like struggling like a wee wimp, going, "Oh, okay, I'll go. Oh, leave me alone, I'll go." Just being a real wee pussy about it. Now, if that happened to me today, after I'd trained at boxing for 3 years and trained at Muay Thai for almost a year, I would rearrange the guy's face. I'm not trying to act like a hard man. I'm not trying to say that I'm, the second coming of Muhammad Ali or something. But I do know how to fight. I trained at it for years now. And if a guy did that to me, I know the damage that I would be able to do with him with bare fists in 10 seconds. As long as I was able to land those shots on his face, he'd be going to hospital. Like, there's no question. And it wouldn't be a big deal to me because of the amount of sparring I've done. I've been in fights, and I'm not afraid to get in a fight. I would light that motherfucker up like a Christmas tree. Like, that's just it. I'm not going to let some guy put his hands on me and threaten my health and safety. Not a chance. That was a promise I made to myself. I promised myself after that incident that it was never going to happen again, that I was never going to be so physically helpless that I couldn't even defend myself. But I also got a lot of other things from learning to fight.
I was more confident just walking around and walking into a room with a lot of other guys. Just yeah, just I just felt this confidence because I'd been working on my mind a lot and on improving my confidence. But I felt like there was this gap with my body. I wasn't physically confident, and that gave me the ability to fight. When I'd learned boxing, that gave me that confidence. And a good example of this, a good manifestation of this, was when I was out back in the day when I was clubbing and going to bars a lot. There were about 10 occasions where guys came up to me and they were looking to intimidate me. They wanted to intimidate me, usually to impress a girl or to impress their guy friends. They were hoping, I guess, to rank up in their little social circle. And they saw me, and I'm a small man, and they thought, okay, well, he looks like an easy target. I'll go and hassle this guy, and it'll make me look tough. My policy was very simple. If they put their hand on me, I would get very, very hostile very quickly. I wouldn't attack them, but I would make it very clear that if they touched me again, we were going to fight. So, for example, on one occasion, a guy put his hand on my shoulder, kind of grabbed my shoulder. I flung his hand off and squared up to him and told him in very clear terms that if he did it again, I would punch him in the face and we were going to get into a fight. And sure enough, he backed off, and that was that. But there was about nine other incidents similar to that. I think it was 10 in total of guys who would come up to me and they would square up or they would say something stupid like, "Hey, come outside. I want to talk to you." Yes, a guy actually said that to me once, and I'd tell them like, "No, fuck off." Or I'd get in their face and tell them basically put up or shut up. And every single time they backed down, every time. And what I learned was these guys weren't hard. They couldn't fight. It was all bullshit. It was all bullshit that they were just trying to impress. And when I made it clear to them that I was prepared to fight, and I really was, I wasn't joking. Like if any of those guys had touched me again, if they had put their hand on me again, I would have punched them in the face. I would have started a fight. I wasn't afraid to fight them. I'd fought bigger, harder guys in the gym, and I knew that these guys in clubs and bars couldn't fight. And if they could, so what? I'll take a punch. I don't mind. So yeah, definitely learn to fight. Learn to fight. Learn to fight for your dignity, for your confidence, for your ability to defend yourself. And because it's just great exercise and it's great fun, and you can make friends in the gym and stuff like that. But just to be more of a man and to be more confident in yourself, yeah, definitely. If you're a man, learn to fight.
Next lesson, improve your mind. Cultivate your cultural awareness, increase your knowledge and understanding of the world, expand your areas of interest and wisdom, read a lot, listen to a lot of music, watch good movies instead of just product content from Disney and Marvel. There are many reasons for this, and here are a few. The extensive learning involved in improving your mind will massively increase your vocabulary. This is important because conscious thought occurs through speech. If you don't have the words, you can't even have the thought, never mind express the thought. Another reason to improve your mind is so that you can enjoy the best of culture. Learn to enjoy the best movies, books, and music. For example, if you like music but just listen to whatever artists are popular in the charts or whatever comes on the radio, you will never get close to enjoying the best music that has been written. Stop listening to commercial produce and explore music on your own. Do it one artist at a time. Listen to as much of that artist as you can, then move on. Over time, your ability to distinguish good music from shite will hugely increase. Less Ed Sheeran, more Mozart. Another reason, if you cultivate your cultural awareness in this way across many fields of art and culture, eventually you will be able to enjoy and understand and talk about and realize the importance of all of the best aspects of those areas of art you're most interested in, whether that's music or books or movies or visual art or whatever. This will make life far more enjoyable and it will make you a far more interesting person.
And just bear in mind that this takes years. This isn't something you can achieve over the course of months or even a year. It takes years and years and years to do this. And this is something that, again, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I think I've done this very successfully since I graduated from university. I pursued knowledge and wisdom and truth and education very, very aggressively. I do believe I've been able to significantly improve my mind. That is probably the most important piece of advice I think I could give to anyone, whether they're in their 20s or their 50s or 60s or whatever. Improve your mind. All right. If by some miracle you did manage to listen to that entire video, thank you very much. And I really hope that you got something from it. I would love to hear your thoughts. So if you want to comment, please do so. Thank you.